And we're here Wednesday, September 10th, the eve of week two. Week two of the NFL almost underway. And we continue moving along. We continue moving along. James is here. Evening, James. How you doing? Hopefully you guys won most of your matchups. I know in 3 of our 4 listener leagues I lost. So that was fun. But to be expected, we play against smart people, and that's just fantasy sometimes. Any overreactions? Are you guys feeling any down on people trying to trade people already, putting in that work, setting lineups, sending trades? Yep, I get it. Setting waiver wires, man. When you have a lot of leagues, waiver wires is it's like a part-time job doing waiver wire. It's like the one thing I probably hate the most about fantasy football is when you have a lot of teams is going through and checking waiver wire and stuff like that. I feel like Sleeper, I feel like Sleeper, I think they have it to where you can see the availability of players across all leagues. So if you're trying to pick up Kendrick Bourne or something, it's like, oh, Kendrick Bourne is available in this league that you're in, and you can pick up him in all your leagues there. So hopefully my connection is going to be okay. I know my Wi-Fi has been a little bit tough today, so I think Xavier Worthy. Thanks Xavier Worthy for my loss. Yeah, I had him in a couple leagues for sure. And what are you gonna do, guys? What are you guys gonna do with Xavier Worthy if he's gonna be he's gonna be questionable, and then he's gonna be game time decision, and let's just say he starts, right? Are you starting him? Are you avoiding him because he could get knocked out? What are you doing in that situation? Because I feel like I'm probably avoiding him as much as possible if I can. So, but we'll see there. We will see there. You also play with dumb people and lost to one of them. Yeah, no, you're not dumb. You're not dumb. What did we? What was our? Let's see here. What was our point differential there? I only lost by 4. Huh? I know I had someone right. I had Caleb Williams Monday night. I think you had someone as well, if I remember correctly. There, down with fun. Maybe not, but it got close there for sure. You got close. So, yeah, and I lost in our other dynasty startup league as well. So, but yeah, guys, just kind of a little bit of a Q&A here, waiver wire stuff, start fit stuff, trade questions. Leave them in. We'll be live for probably an hour at the most. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Comments, concerns, dynasty stashes, all of that stuff. So it's going to be a good week. I think we had week 1 is always a weird. It's always a weird start to the season, and it's so easy to overreact to week 1 because it's the first thing we're seeing, and you're thinking, oh, this is how it's always going to be. But things change, and we got to kind of roll with the punches. So down on Niners. If I have someone to play over him, I will. Yeah. Worthy. Yeah, for example, Kevin, I have Michael Pittman. Am I starting Michael Pittman over Xavier Worthy? I think I am, right? I mean, Michael Pittman's coming off an 8-target, 6-catch game. Daniel Jones looked like the reincarnation of Peyton Manning. That being said, they're playing the Broncos, the Colts. So do I avoid that? Do I go with Worthy? That's a tough one. That's really the only guy I think I could start over him at the moment. I mean, it's a tight end premium league, so I guess I could start. No, I can't. Yeah, that's my only option really. So I think I have to. Down on Niners, by the way, it sounds like Purdy might not be playing. So how are you guys feeling about your 49ers players? I think personally Mac Jones is going to come in and look pretty good, and he's going to put up similar numbers to what Purdy can put up. I just think that system is caters. Now, that being said, they do have a lot of injuries with players, George Kittle, Juwan Jennings, guys like that. So that could be something that you're a little bit down on, though. Week 2 is on the way, Nino. If Cook can't go, should I start Ray Davis or Tony Pollard? That's a good question here. So we got James Cook, or you got the Bills playing against the Jets. Man, they're both going to get a lot of carries. I think I'm still going to lean Pollard just because it's a little bit of an unknown there. Like, how much are they actually going to use Ray Davis? How good is Ray Davis? I think Ray Davis is a solid player. They both kind of have middle of the road matchups, I would say. How much is Ty Johnson going to be involved? So I think I might go. Tony Pollard there. I mean, Tony Pollard had 20 touches last week. He's playing the Rams, which I don't think is terrible. I can see either way there, Jeff. I don't know how you're feeling, or do you have a lean there? But I could see either way. But I think I put my trust into Tony Pollard, knowing that he's going to play 90%. Tony Pollard played over 85% of the snaps, had 20 touches last week. So I think I would go with him. You had Loveland. That's right. You had Loveland. Justin, good evening. He's torn between who to start this week. 2 spots to fill between Pearsall, J-Mo, Kenneth Walker, and Hollywood Brown. Justin, is this PPR? I feel like, man, I think it's Pearsall for sure. Right? I think it's going to be Pearsall for sure. And then, man, the Kenneth Walker usage was a little scary there, right? Like, it makes you want to avoid Kenneth Walker a little bit if you can. Marquise Brown could be the wide receiver 1 for the Chiefs for the next month. Jameson Williams. Oh, man, that's really tough. I honestly think I might go Ricky Pearsall and Marquise Brown. Joseph is saying you have to go J-Mo, which I don't mind. It is PPR, though. Marquise Brown had 16 targets last week. Like, he's just going to PPR his way into a bunch of points, I feel like. And we've seen this before from Marquise Brown, where he has like this incredible volume. We saw it for like a few weeks. We saw it for a little bit in Arizona. We saw it, end of last year in Kansas City. He had a couple big target games. I think I'm going Pearsall, and then I might go Hollywood Brown, as crazy as that is. I don't mind J-Mo. I don't mind if you want to take a shot on Kenneth Walker, but I actually think I think Hollywood Brown could have the best PPR week of those guys, right? Like, who else is on the team? Kelsey's a little bit older. They can't, maybe they can't run the ball too well. Xavier Worthy. Now, if Xavier Worthy's going to play, maybe you go with and pivot to Jameson Williams, but I think I'm leaning Pearsall and Brown in PPR, as crazy as that is. Kenneth Walker played 40% of the snaps last week. That's concerning. That is very concerning. I was expecting a big year. Now, that could be a little bit, Kenneth Walker was injured, and they could be ramping him up a little bit, or that's just going to be, that's the tough thing. Like, we don't know for sure. Because Zach Charbonnet is a good backup, we don't know if this is how they want to split the backfield, or we don't know if, they're bringing him back slowly due to injury. That's the issue. So you may want to just kind of wait a week there. Yeah, hopefully that helps, Justin. Zay and Keon have been the players I've been trying to get. 2 guys I wasn't very high on. I was fine with where Kieran Coleman was going in drafts. I was totally fine with, picking him up. Zay Flowers, I was kind of out on. But, man, if the Ravens stop using their tight ends as much, Mark Andrews and Likely. I know Likely he missed the game, right? If their tight ends aren't as involved as much, like it could have a big Zay Flowers season, but we'll see. We'll see. I love Zay Flowers. It's had nothing to do with Zay Flowers. It's more the offense that they were running, but it's very encouraging to see that they were kind of playing with a lead for most of that game until the end. They were kind of dominating that game, and Zay Flowers still did this. Usually you would expect, okay, it was a shootout, but this was a game they were trailing, not kind of dominating there in the second half, which they were. And to see that from Zay Flowers, 9 targets, 7 catches, also 2 carries. He's definitely a must start. Keon Coleman. I know he had that fluky touchdown catch, but still, he had 7. Even if you take that out, he had 7 catches. I forget how big that wasn't a very long touchdown pass. So he still basically had like 7 catches and 100 yards. I'm still a little bit hesitant on Keon Coleman. I think you can get games like that, and obviously, like the volume there is great, and he didn't do it on 3 or 4 catches. He did it on 7 or 8. My only worry is, are they gonna how many times are they gonna be in a position where they're gonna have to be throwing it that much? The Bills. I don't think they're gonna be in that much of a position, but man, it's hard to get away from those guys for sure. Mac Jones season. It is Mac Jones season. I think just like Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold came in when he was in San Francisco. He came in for I don't know if he started at a game. I know he came in and took over a game there back in 2023. And he looked decent. I just think that system's really good, but you do need the weapons there, and they are running a little bit short there. If I'm trying to tank, what do I do with dudes like Trey Tucker, Singletary, Parker Washington, Noah Fant, who have some value but aren't desired by the league, and who could ruin the tank with blow-up weeks? You have to. I assume you, Joseph, you have to have a starting lineup, right? And so, if you're starting these guys, you're kind of at the bottom of the barrel. You're always going to have guys. It's going to be very hard to have a starting lineup where you're starting guys who can't blow up, right? It's going to be pretty rare. So, the problem is I don't think any of those guys really have too much long-term value, nor do people want them, right? Unless you play in a deep league. So you just kind of hope that these guys go off and continue to go off. Trey Tucker continues to catch big touchdown passes, or Devin Singletary, injuries happen and Devin Singletary takes over the backfield. But these are guys that are kind of you can't trade them. I don't know if they have too much long-term value, so you just kind of continue to roll with them. You shouldn't be winning weeks with those guys, right? And Joseph, was it you that you're saying the team you're trying to tank in was the highest scoring team? Was this the team that did that? You're doing the right thing. If you're starting Trey Tucker, Devin Singletary, Parker Washington, Noah Fant, you're doing the tanking right, and you should be losing, But yeah, you just kind of you put feelers out every time those guys have a big blow up week, or if they continue to produce, or guys get injured, and you just look to trade them, and try to get equal value for them, but also settle. When you're tanking, it's okay to settle sometimes. You think Singletary should be worth a random second if he takes over as the starting running back for the Giants, but you can only get 2/3 or a third and a fourth, just take it. You think Trey Tucker's worth a third, but someone gives you a fourth, you take it. And it was those, yeah. And just trying, it's more of just trying to manage my max points for it. Yeah. Again, you have the right idea. If you're starting these guys, you're doing things right for sure. So, would you send Sutton and JT for Jettas and Omarion and Hampton? So Cortland Sutton and Jonathan Taylor for Justin Jefferson and Omarion Hampton. I'm going to take the Justin Jefferson side. I think there's a chance if they continue to use Omarion Hampton this way, he I think Jonathan Taylor's awesome, and I think he's a little bit slept on as well. And if that offense continues to play well, just Jonathan Taylor's going to have an awesome season. But if the Chargers continue to use Hampton like they did in Week 1, now I don't necessarily think that's like for sure going to be the case where he played 80% of the snaps. But if they do, I don't think Omarion Hampton and Jonathan Taylor are going to be that far off from each other. And so I do think I would definitely take Justin Jefferson over Courtland Sutton. So yeah, I think I'm leaning the Justin Jefferson side there. But you can make an argument of like, what is Justin Jefferson's ceiling with JJ McCarthy? He did catch a touchdown. What was he at? Like 6 for 45, 6 for 50 and a touchdown. Which is good. But what is Justin Jefferson's ceiling? We don't really know yet. But we assume that McCarthy is going to continue to improve. So I think I lean the Jetta side. I think it's a pretty even trade, though. I think it's a pretty even trade. So I would try and do it if you could. But if it doesn't go through, I don't think it's a huge loss on your side. I think Sutton and JT are going to be good. Jeff, need one wide receiver, one flex. Tyreek, Pearsall, Scary Terry, and Pollard. I think we're definitely going Pearsall. Just as, one of the few pass catchers there. Terry McLaurin, the issue with him is we expected a slow start from him. Now, he did play in almost 80% of the snaps, so he was out there. But we did expect a little bit of a slowish start from him just because he missed a lot of time. Man, that's tough. What are the Dolphins? I think I'm going to go Pearsall and Scary Terry here. It's tough to bench Tyreek for me, but that Dolphins offense looks so bad that their team just looks so bad that I need to see something here. Just double checking what Tyreek Hill did. 6 targets, 4 for 40. Playing the Patriots, man. I think I actually still might go Tyreek and Pearsall one more week, Jeff. That's tough. I'm curious what you guys watching would do here. Who would you start here? Which two would you start? Which wide receiver? You need a wide receiver and a flex. I think I actually might go Tyreek and Pearsall. But man, Pollard had 20 touches as well. Who are you benching over? Is this Jeff? I think you may have talked to you have Puka Nacua on this team, right? I think we were talking about this team. Yeah. I may go one more week of Tyreek Hill, just thinking all right, if they're going to get this together, they're going to get it together this week, right? And that means Tyreek's going to go off. So, man, I think I'd go Tyreek and Pearsall. Go for the upside of Tyreek. I mean, they all have upside for sure, but Tyreek has a different type of upside, right? Download Fun says Mac was better for fantasy than T-Law last year. This isn't a downgrade for any Niners. Yeah, I don't think I would downgrade the Niners. I think I agree with you there. I wouldn't downgrade them, and I would just I would say I'm more worried about just the offense as a whole, right? Just the offense as a whole. But yeah, I don't think it's a downgrade as well. Let's go JMO. Rams defense versus Tennessee or Arizona defense versus Carolina. I think I'll go Rams. Very, very close, though. Very close. Arizona's at home if you want to that to be the tiebreaker. I think they have both really good matchups. I think I'd lean the Rams, but if your tiebreaker is Arizona's at home, then I'm fine with that. I am all the way in on Flowers this year. I think he might absorb what used to go to their tight ends. Sure. Yeah, and again, we knew it was never a talent issue. That's what's frustrating about some of these players, like DJ Moore for all those years in Carolina, Chris Olave in New Orleans, Zay Flowers in Baltimore the last year. It's never been an issue of like these guys aren't talented; they just weren't on the right teams, the right offenses, right? And so that was always the frustrating thing with them. But like if they're going to use him this way, if they're going to give him carries like this, I want to see them give him more carries. Like give him a couple carries, get the ball in his hands, give him 2 carries a week, right? Like that's going to shoot up his value. 2 carries a week, like that's he's gonna add on another 200 yards rushing or something like that. So yeah, I mean, please get the guy the ball. Um, we know that he is talented. By the way, guys, make sure to hit the like button on this video. Just gets more eyes on it, and I don't think people are going to watch it on replay, but you just hit the like button. It helps us out. Obviously, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I think most of you are subscribed. And if you feel like you want to support us at all, you can become a member, or you can super chat here, but definitely not. You're not. It's not mandatory. You're not obligated to do so. We will get to your question either way. It's more of just trying. Okay, yeah, we talked about that. NFL opened investigation into a new round of domestic violence. Yeah. So maybe it is good to just like I'm gonna avoid Tyreek Hill just because he's a bad person too, like allegedly a bad person, So I don't know. I don't think there's a wrong answer going back to this. I don't think there's a wrong answer here with that second player. I feel most confident in Pearsall giving me the safest floor. I think he's going to catch 6 to 8 passes at least. And he's going to turn that into, at worst, 12, 13 PPR points. Plus, he could do more. Tyreek's a risk. Scary Terry's a potential risk. Pollard's a risk, but any one of them could be better than the other one. So I don't think there's like a wrong answer there. You do have Puka, yeah. You're against my dad and dad's team in Dynasty this week, and he's favored. How about that Viking comeback? I mean, I was looking at it like he did better than me in our listener leagues, my dad and his teams. So, yeah, it's pretty. It's funny to look at that. Yeah, he won. He went 1-1 in our other Dynasty league. What did he do in? He's in second place in our Zeus league here. So, yeah, that Viking comeback was awesome. That was a tough first half. You're thinking, man, like JJ McCarthy, this looks like too big of a stage for him. He looks just overwhelmed, and it's to be expected a little bit, right? Like you're playing Monday Night Football and based in your first career start, like it's to be expected, yeah. Sorry, I just heard a weird noise. It's to be expected, right? But then he came back and looked good. So kudos to him, and I'm excited to see JJ McCarthy. He's something ridiculous, like in his career as a starter. He's like 35-3 or something like that. Like he literally just wins every single game he plays in. So feeling great about Tyler Warren. I mean, I would be a little bit hesitant because I don't know. Like we kind of got a historic performance from the Colts offensively. And that was led by Daniel Jones. Now, maybe Daniel Jones is just awesome. Maybe, this is a former first-round pick. Maybe him going to the Vikings and spending time with Kevin O'Connell has done wonders for him. Maybe he was just in a toxic situation, blah, 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 blah. I don't expect their offense to look this good. I think that's safe to say. But that being said, like Tyler Warren doesn't need to do much to be a relevant tight end, and he looked good. He looked good. He even had a rushing attempt, which he did that, by the way. He did that a lot in college. I don't know if you guys follow college football or not, but Tyler Warren had 26 rush attempts in college last year. Like they were giving him almost 2 rushing attempts a game. So like this is part of his game. Is like to run the ball as well. So like I'm excited about Warren. Where would I rank him? Who would I start him over? In PPR leagues, I would probably have him as a top 7 tight end this week. Now they do play Denver, and that's going to be a whole nother test. Now, if Daniel Jones looks good against Denver, then we're going to start talking about comeback player of the year talk for Daniel Jones, and he's going to lead this team to the playoffs type of thing. Because Denver's a whole nother beast, right? Over Miami. Okay, so, but I think it could favor Tyler Warren, like playing Denver and a tough defense, a lot more checkdowns and dump offs and short passes. So, yeah, I mean, I'm excited about Tyler Warren. I really am. I'd start him over Tucker Kraft. I'd start him over Mark Andrews, Njoku, Ferguson. Probably the only guys I'd start for sure over Tyler Warren are McBride, Laporta, Bowers. And then I think the conversation starts with Kelsey. I think I'd start Hawkinson over Warren. But the conversation starts with like Kelsey, Kraft, that range of guys. So, Miles, Samson or Judkins rest of the season is a great question. I'm Dylan Sampson. I was a Dylan Sampson guy. If you listen to my Dynasty content, which a lot of you do, Miles, I'm not sure if you play Dynasty or not. I feel like I remember you last year from just redraft, but I had Sampson, like it was like Genty, Amarian Hampton, Travion Henderson, and then Dylan Sampson kind of came into question. Like then it came to like Dylan Sampson, Judkins, Caleb Johnson, like those tier of white running backs were there, and they're like I was basically had Sampson as a top 5 running back in this draft class, right? And so I'm a big Dylan Sampson guy. I think he's really good. I thought him catching 8 passes was very encouraging, especially since he actually didn't even play on like 3rd down and 2-minute drills. I think he played no 3rd down snaps. So normally your catches come from 3rd down, right? He played no 3rd down snaps. And then I think he played like 2 or 3 2-minute drill snaps. That's where you rack up a lot of your catches. He hardly played in those, still caught 8 passes. Obviously, I would like to see more than a 2.4 yards per attempt, but I think I'm Dylan Sampson rest of the season for a couple of reasons. One, we are always 1 week out from Judkins, right? So we're for sure not starting Judkins week 2. So the earliest we're going to start him is week 3. For us to start him week 3, we're going to need to see significant usage from him. I don't think that's going to happen. So now we're pushing it out another week to week 4. So, like, I think at best you're starting Judkins early October. Plus, there's the issue that he could get suspended. Wasn't there an update that he met with the NFLPA or the commission, all of that, and they're going to figure out a potential suspension for him. So, like, you could lose 2-3 weeks. And by the way, I'm pretty sure you don't get to practice during that time. So, like, if that happens middle of the season, if that happens now, we're talking about November, December for Judkins. So I'm definitely Dylan Sampson rest of the season. And by the way, that's not even. I think Dylan Sampson can also just be better than Judkins. I don't just because Judkins was drafted first, that doesn't mean I don't think Sampson could be better. I think Sampson's a good player. Are you noticing any macro changes in Dynasty? Like I saw a Reddit post about how elite wide receivers are going to eventually be the kings of Dynasty. I feel like elite wide receivers are all. Are you talking about over quarterbacks there in like Superflex leagues, Joseph, or what? Because I feel like wide receivers are already kind of the kings of Dynasty. Like when you compare them to tight ends and running backs, macro changes. I've noticed this the last couple of years. Like Dynasty several years ago used to be much more Dynasty, and now it's a lot more redraft focused in the sense of like we overreact so much. I think this is a really good question, Joseph, and something I enjoy talking about. We overreact way too much. Players players need to break out year one. They really do need to break out year one, or it's a stain on them for the rest of their career, right? Think Quentin Johnston, think Bryce Young, like what Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, right? After last year, so they both played 2 years, both drafted in the same draft. Um, Bryce Young was better than CJ Stroud last year. If you take Bryce Young from after he came back from his benching, so a little bit of a modifying his stats. He was bad the first few weeks, got benched. After he came back from his benching, that stretch of games was actually better than CJ Stroud his rookie year. But then you go and look at the rankings, and CJ Stroud's like a top 10 quarterback still. Bryce Young's barely top 20, top 24. And why is that? Well, it's because CJ Stroud had a great rookie year. And so that sticks into our mind more. Perception and just other factors that come into play with Dynasty. It's the psychology behind Dynasty. Little things like just likable players come into play. Caleb Williams, for example, we're going to be much faster on kind of being out on him because I feel like a lot of people don't like him as much for stupid reasons. So there's a lot of like little stuff like that. I already kind of feel like the wide receivers are kind of kings of Dynasty. That being said, the wide receiver market is so oversaturated, right? There's so many good wide receivers that come out every single year. Even in this year's draft, it was kind of not a big wide receiver draft this year. And yet, like, we still got Travis Hunter, Tedero McMillan, Matthew Golden, Emeka Ibuka, guys that we're all super excited about. Some guys in the second round there that we're excited about. A couple of years ago, it was the Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, JSN, Jordan Addison draft. That was considered a weak wide receiver draft. And we got three of those four are some of the, JSN's like a top 12 wide receiver in Dynasty. Zay Flowers and Addison are both like top 24. So like, it's just so oversaturated. So I feel like it's a lot easier to get off of wide receivers and just say, I can find a replacement. Because every single year we're going to get 4 or 5 wide receivers taken in the first round of NFL drafts, And those elite running backs are a lot harder to find. So you can make an argument that they're more valuable. So, yeah, I mean, the NFL changed a little bit as well. Like pre-2020, the NFL was like much more pass heavy. And then teams started to adjust, defenses started to adjust to basically prevent the long passes. And so that's why I think, especially last year, we've seen the return of like the running back renaissance. Because, hey, if you're going to play 2 deep safeties and lighten the box, we're going to run the ball on you. So I don't know. I think it just goes in cycles here. I personally still think that you can make an argument that workhorse elite wide running back is the most valuable piece in Dynasty outside of, quarterback and super flex leagues, right? If we're just looking at running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, you can make an argument that like Bijan Robinson and maybe Genti, if he gets there, these elite running backs, are more valuable just because like they're harder to find. So I think it's an interesting conversation and one that we can dive into throughout the course of the season for sure. Nino says, do I plug in Pollard over any of these guys? ETN, no. Emeka Ibuka, no. The only one I would potentially say, let me just double check here. I don't have a DJ Moore on any team. So, when you have players that you don't have on any teams, it's like, oh, yeah, you can kind of forget what they did. The only one I would potentially say is DJ Moore. I think I'd actually start Pollard over DJ Moore. But I wouldn't start him over ETN or Emeka Ibuka. So, also Flex 2 in another league, Hollywood versus Philly, Pickens versus the Giants, Samson versus Baltimore. Let me see what I have here. This is This is PPR, Nino. If it's not, let me know. I just assume it's PPR when people don't say it because I feel like it's the most popular format. Let's see who I have here. Who do I have out of these guys? I feel like for sure I'm gonna go Marquise Brown. Um, yeah, PPR. I think for sure I'm gonna go Marquise Brown because I just think he could catch like 10 passes. As crazy as that is. I've never been the biggest George Pickens guy. Um, but to me, it's between Pickens and Kenneth Walker. I'm still not quite there with Samson to start him over Kenneth Walker. I'd say if you want upside or if you want to play it safe, I would go Pickens. If you need, they're both kind of upside players, Pickens and Kenneth Walker. So if you need to kind of play it safe, I'd go Pickens. Or if you hear any type of news that they're going to, it's so hard with Seattle. It's really like I have no idea what to tell people about Seattle because this is different than any other situation because it's a new offensive coordinator. We know Zach Charbonnet's good. That's the issue. It's not like what's a good example? It's not like Hassan Haskins out snapped Amarian Hampton because they were bringing Amarian Hampton back from an injury or something. And that, is this how the new backfield? Like, we know Zach Charbonnet's good. That's the issue. It's week one. Zach Charbonnet played more. He looked better. We know he's a good running back. Is this just them slowly bringing Kenneth Walker back, or is this how they want to run their offense? So I think to avoid that, you just go with Pickens in Hollywood. I think that's who I would probably start. I think that's the least riskiest of the four that you have there. So start Booty, Douglas, or Austin over Worthy. It might be Kayshon Booty. He's kind of he played in 2 wide receiver sets. He played in 3 wide receiver sets. Like, he hardly came off the field. We saw this kind of last year from Booty a little bit. He played in 83% of the snaps, which was the most by far. And again, he wasn't just out there he was out there in 3 wide receiver sets, 2 wide receiver sets. So, like, that's kind of the key there. We saw this last year for Kayshon Booty. Kind of look at his stretch of games. Like, you kind of look at when he started to play a lot more, which was right around week 6. He had some good games in there. He had some decent games in there. And so I think I might start him. He's going to be out there a lot. Drake May seems to like him. This is also a former, like, if you guys don't know, Kayshon Booty was kind of the next LSU wide receiver to come out. He was a freshman in college back in 2020, I believe it was. Had a really good freshman year, over 700 yards as a freshman, which is great. Kind of didn't play so well the next 2 years and then was drafted 5th round. But this was like the top prospect in college, wide receiver prospect in college, like heading into a college season. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but like, we know there's talent there. Is he now just putting it together? So I think, honestly, like, let me double check Calvin Austin here and just what his snap share was a little bit. I know Calvin Austin caught a big, what was it, like a 30-yard touchdown pass, which he's capable of doing, right? He also played an 80% of the snaps. So I think I'm going to go with Booty, though, and roll with it and see what happens, Jeff says, thoughts on your own players going against your defense. For example, I have Pollard going against my Rams defense. I don't put too much thought into that, to be honest. If it's like, I'm not going to, let's just say this. If I have 2 equal players, maybe that's a tiebreaker, like legitimately equal, but that doesn't happen very often. And so, like, I just always start the better player. I don't really care. It's not going to change anything, right? Either they're going to go off on your defense or not. So, like, unless you're saying pivoting from your defense, because you don't want to kind of like, cannibalize. You can look at it both ways. It's like, oh, I mean, like it's like a lose-lose situation. Either my defense sucks or my running back sucks, or it's a win-win because either my defense sucks or my running back sucks, or they're both good. That's also a possibility, right? So I don't put too much thought into that, to be completely honest there, Jeff. If Danny Dimes can cook that Broncos defense yeah, that's going to be crazy, right? That is going to be crazy. Thoughts on Aaron Jones and his role here? I was a little bit. I kind of thought that it was going to go this way. I guess I started to drop Aaron Jones down my rankings a little bit as we got closer to the season. I'll say this. I think Aaron Jones can be still fantasy relevant like this, right? Now they were chasing points, so in the second half a little bit, so they didn't run the ball as much. But I do think Aaron Jones can have a season where he's just like he's very efficient with his touches. I mean, we've seen it before from Aaron Jones. I'm trying to find the last time that he was like that. Because last year was his by far the most touches he had in a season. Yeah, maybe like 2021 a little bit. I think Aaron Jones can be quite efficient. Now, let's just say this: like, how much better would you feel if instead of 8 for 23, you saw 8 for 42, right? Would that just psychologically change things? It's like, all right, he gave me 80. Obviously, it'd be better. That's like a stupid thing to say, but if you just like he had the same amount of touches, he had 11 touches, he had 80 total yards with 3 catches, and then the touchdown. And you say to yourself, okay, if that's like the minimum for Aaron Jones, like 11 touches, and he's going to give me 80 yards with 3-4 catches, knowing that he can give me 100 yards with 5 catches, touchdowns are always going to be hard to predict. I think you'd feel a lot better. And I say that because he averaged 2.9 yards per attempt. And so I think he can easily average 4.5, and give you 8 for 35, 8 for 40. So I'm not super worried. I think he can still be, as crazy as it is, a low end RB2 in PPR leagues if he's going to catch 3.5 catches a game, right? Because I think he's still going to get his touches. I think he can be explosive. So I'm not super worried, but I feel worried if he's my RB2. But if he's like my flex, my RB3, then I'm not super worried about him. What about Keon Coleman there, Joseph? Did you want to say something there? What's up, Tyler? Would you start a Buka or ETN in the flex spot? Ooh, good question. I assume this is PPR, Tyler. By the way, guys, make sure to hit the like button for us and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. So yeah, I assume this is PPR, right? I think I'm rolling with ETN. I think I think I'm gonna roll with Travis Etienne. Like, I think he was just massively slept on because why, right? Why did he go from a second round pick last year to, I mean, damn, I was seeing him being drafted in the 8th, 9th round of drafts. Like, why did he drop that far, right? I know he wasn't great last year, but the whole Jaguars like offense wasn't really great. Besides Brian Thomas Jr., it was a huge disappointment. His numbers didn't really go down too much. Like, I know Bigsby was a little bit more involved, but then they brought in a whole new coaching staff. We were excited about Brian Thomas Jr., excited about Travis Hunter. A new coach came in. And by the way, that coach came from Tampa Bay, who gave you 2 top 24 running backs. I think like a top 15 running back in Bucky Irving, and then like a top 24 guy in Rachaad White. And then we just kind of slept on ETN. I don't think like I think this is what they're gonna do with ETN. Like this is what we're gonna see from him. So I'm kind of I think, man, if you draft an ETN, that's the type of player that wins you leagues. Guy that you drafted in the 8th, 9th round, and he goes off and he could be an RB1 this year. I know it's maybe slightly overreacting, but I don't think it is. They just got rid of Bigsby as well. ETN played in 60% of the snaps. He had 19 touches. So I'm excited. He kind of dominated everything but third downs. That went to LaQuint Allen. So yeah, I'm starting ETN there. Purdy injured, didn't draft back up. Who should I pick up in waiver wires this week? Danny Dimes, Love, Herbert, McCarthy, or even Fields. Oh, you go out, Miles, and you get Justin Fields, and you don't even think twice about it. It's Justin Fields. 100%, Miles. El Mamabicho. Would you guys trade Kyren and Ferguson for Marion and Tyler Warren? I think that's a pretty even trade, to be honest. I want Kyren over Amarion Hampton. I do want Kyren over Amarion Hampton. By the way, Kyren still played over 80% of the snaps. So I'll take Kyren over Amarion Hampton. And like they're on a different tier. They're not in the same tier for me. They're in a different tier. Because I do think there's a chance Amarion gets used a little bit less. He also played in 80% of the snaps, but I could easily see it being 60. So, and then I would take Warren over Ferguson, but I don't think Ferguson's a bad tight end to be starting. So, yeah, I think I lean the Kyren side. Because I also think Ferguson could be pretty good this year. I mean, he got 6 targets himself. But I don't mind either side there. El Mamabicho. But yeah, I'm just a big Kyren fan, so I think that's why I lean that side. Would you rather start Kraft or Hawkinson rest of the season? Probably Hawkinson, unless it's standard. I think I would say Hawkinson. Tucker Kraft's an interesting one, like because like he didn't have a good game. He got a touchdown, right? I think Tucker Kraft's going to be one of those like very efficient ones. I don't know. I think I definitely lean Hawkinson there, Tyler. I definitely lean Hawkinson. Leaning ETN against Cincy versus Ibuka against the tough defense. Yeah, I'm pretty easily ETN there. I think ETN's going to catch something to remember with Ibuka, guys. Like I know he had I think he's the real deal. I think he's legit, and all of that. But he did only catch 4 passes, and he caught 2 touchdowns. Like that's a little Jalen McMillan-esque end of year last year, where he was like just catching a bunch of touchdown passes. So we didn't see a huge volume for Emeka Ibuka. We saw 6 targets, 4 catches. Obviously, the 2 touchdowns is great. So, Baker, how many times did he throw the ball? 32 times he threw the ball. Sorry, 1 second here, guys. So, we saw a 19% target share there, which is fine. And he obviously can just develop. But anyways, it's ETN over Emeka Ibuka for me. I think ETN is probably going to get 30% of the catches that Ibuka gets, plus he's going to get 15 plus carries. Trade away Bill for Tyreek and K9. Jackson, you're telling me you can trade away Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt for Tyreek Hill and Kenneth Walker? Yeah. 100%. I would do that straight up. I would trade away Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt straight out for one of those guys. we got to be careful with Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt as well. Guys, if you have any reason to subscribe to this channel, I'm not saying we were the only channel that was talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, but I was talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, and we were talking about him back in March. I didn't hear a lot of people talking about him there. So I'm a big Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt fan, but if you could trade them for both, I would do it. If you could trade them for one, I would do it. And I will get back to this, but I really appreciate it here, Alpha Sploosh. I like the name. Really appreciate that. Very kind of you. There is the option, guys, to super chat if you so please. And I will kind of prioritize your comment over everyone else's, but it's not necessary. Kyler Murray, Ja'Marr Chase, BTJ, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, Kyle Pitts, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, Chubb, DJ Moore, Aaron Jones. Holy crap. 10-man, 2 flex. What's your question here? Do you have a question here, Alpha? Are you just flexing your team and how damn good it is? Because that's an insane team. Kyler Murray. So you have Ja'Marr Chase, BTJ, Deebo Samuel, Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore. Yeah, this is an insane team. I guess the only area to work on is potentially your tight end, but Kyle Pitts, I think there's a chance he's like really good this year. I know, we're falling back into it again, but he had a really good game. Drake London's a little beat up. Sounds like he's going to play. Darnell Mooney might miss time. Maybe if what I would start doing here, so it's a 2 flex, right? So you're starting 2. Are you asking me to flex 2 there, Alpha? I'm confused. Let me know what your question here. You said lost first week, $25 buy-in, and lost last year due to Chase. Revenge season. I had a 20-point lead with CD and lost to his Chase. Not sure if I should trade. Yeah, let me know if you're asking me who you should be starting here, because if you're definitely starting, I would be starting Kyler, Ja'Marr Chase, BTJ. So my starting receivers would be Chase. I'd be starting Chase and so is it 2 wide receivers and 2 flexes? Chase, BTJ, Jonathan Taylor, and Cook. Who am I benching here? I'm benching Chubb, DJ Moore, Aaron Jones. Yeah, so I'm starting. So it's 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 2 flexes, right? So I'm starting Chase and BTJ. I'm starting Jonathan Taylor and James Cook. Starting Kyle Pitts, starting Kyler Murray. And then my flexes will be Deebo and probably Tyreek Hill for the upside. It's kind of a toss-up. It's like, do you want upside? Go Tyreek Hill. You want to play it safe? I would go DJ Moore. So, yeah, I think it comes down to Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore. I'm benching Chubb. I'm benching Aaron Jones. I'm benching Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram's hurt. I'm benching Herbert just because I think Kyler, with his rushing, I'm always gonna lean those players because I think they have a safer floor. What was Kyler's stat line last week? Anyways, 163, 2 touchdowns. He ran for 38 yards. Yeah, I know Herbert had rushing yards too, but yeah. So that's what I'm doing there. Who should you trade? I don't mind packaging Deebo Samuel with someone. A Deebo Samuel with a DJ Moore, with an Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb, and Evan Ingram, even a James Cook, and like really getting a very, very good piece there. That's the guy I probably would be looking at the most is Deebo Samuel, just because I don't think Deebo's going to get. I think he's going to be good this year, but he's not going to get 10 targets. He's not going to get 10 targets. Now he could get more rushing attempts. He only had 1 last week. It was a touchdown, but he's not going to get 10 targets every week. Especially as McLaurin gets a little bit more ramped up. So I think I'd be looking to trade a little bit high on Deebo and maybe Kyle Pitts or Deebo and James Cook and really getting another like elite piece there. If I could do a 2-for-1 here, you have such a good team. Like each week you're benching guys like Tyreek Hill, DJ Moore, Aaron Jones. You're benching these guys, package 2 players, get another elite piece. Debo seems like the guy. I don't really want to trade Chase or BTJ or Jonathan Taylor. I'm open to trading James Cook, Kyle Pitts, Debo, DJ Moore, all the other guys if you can. I just think the 2 with the most value right now, or the 3, are Cook, Pitts, and Debo Samuel. Maybe Pitts, you're going to have to wait a little bit. What do you think you should chase after? I mean, go for the elites of the elites, right? Like package those 2 players and try and get a Puka, an Amon-Ra, a Nico Collins, a JSN. Those type of wide receivers are higher. An AJ Brown maybe. Or running backs, go for a Josh Jacobs, a Bucky Irving, an Achane, a Genty, right? So you may need to wait a couple weeks, or maybe you try to go all out for a top tier tight end in McBride or Bowers. Those are the only 2 tight ends I would trade for. But other than that, I think you're good, man. I think you're good. Yeah, that's who I would be going for, and I would be packaging a 2-for-1. I want to keep Chase, BTJ, Jonathan Taylor. Those are the guys I really want to lock down. All the other guys are on the table. Kind of depends on who that other player likes. I may need to wait a couple more weeks, but yeah, I don't want to trade low on Tyreek Hill, so don't trade away Tyreek Hill because I think you'd be trading low on him. So I'd be trading high on James Cook and Debo Samuel. So should you pick up Hollywood? Who would you have to drop here? I mean, you're never going to start Hollywood over Jamar Chase, BTJ, probably not Debo, and not Tyreek Hill, at least over the next couple of weeks. I mean, are you just going to drop? I guess you would drop Herbert. Can you trade Herbert? Would you drop Evan Ingram? I'm kind of up in the air on that one, Alpha, but I don't mind it. I don't mind trying to pick up Marquise Hollywood Brown and then selling high on him. So, and Keon Coleman's on waivers. Oh, you could have got Keon Coleman. Yeah, I mean, I guess what you could do is you get what's Evan Ingram? Isn't Evan Ingram injured? Did I make that up? What's that? What's the status here of Evan Ingram? Like, if he's gonna miss any time, I'm probably just going to drop Evan Ingram. I was not that high on him going into the season, anyways. He was limited with the calf. Yeah, man, it's so hard. I don't think it's a must to pick up Marquise Brown, but if he's out there, I don't mind it. I just don't really want to drop. I want to try and trade 2 guys so it opens up a roster spot. That's kind of how I would go with that, Alpha. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Guys, going to be live for about 5-ish more minutes here. If you have an urgent question, you can super chat like Alpha. We will be live again tomorrow before the game as well. So I'll get to some of these here. Yeah, Jackson, if you can do that, do that. Over under 49.5 in the Cincy Jags game. I'll go over for the fun. Flex JMO, DJ Moore, or Samson. It's still going to – is it DJ Moore there, Adam? If it's DJ Moore – I think I might go TJ Moore over Jameson Williams. I'm not starting Samson there, so it's either JMO or DJ Moore. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go DJ Moore there. But it's close between those 2. Kind of go with the lean who you like a little bit more, but I'll go DJ Moore. Appreciate you. In a 1 league, full PPR, I have Nico, BTJ, Drake. Running backs are Henderson, K9, Swift. Would you recommend trading BTJ for Jonathan Taylor or Chase Brown? Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty close. I would still want BTJ over those guys. I actually think I might. Man, that's tough. I don't mind it there, Tyler. I don't mind it. I feel like if they could give me something a little bit more in return, like just a little bit, I would do it. But I don't mind that trade there for sure. Um, Could have got Coleman. Yeah, we get that one. 14-man leagues. We can't trade. By the way, guys, Down with Fun here says like the stream. Yes, like the stream, please. Subscribe. Help us get to 1,400 subscribers. And then join our Discord as well. You'll know when we go live. We're trying to go live almost every single day. I actually missed yesterday, so I've already failed on that. What I was trying to do there, but that's okay. We're going to be going live almost every single day during the football season. So you join our Discord; it's free, and you'll know when we go live here. 14-man leagues. We can't trade. Depth isn't a thing, so I'm glad I got Bill. I need deep league sleepers for later. Is Booty the real deal? Here's what I'll say about Booty, especially in a 14-team league there, Gilbert, which you're going to have a deeper start. You're going to be going, scraping the bottom of the barrel a bit more. He played over 80% of the snaps. He seems to be the wide receiver one for the Patriots. He played over 80% of the snaps. Stephon Diggs didn't look great. Demario Douglas is a slot guy. Matt Collins has his role. Kyle Williams is a third-round pick. It seems to be Booty here is their main guy. Is he the real deal in the sense, like, do I think he's going to be getting 100 yards every game? No. But I think he's going to be playing a lot. And I think Drake May is a good quarterback. And so for that reason, I think you're going to get a potentially good season out of Kayshon Boutte here, and I think he is worth an ad and definitely holding on to. So tough to say if he's the real deal. I would be picking up in this format. I would be picking him up for sure. We did that half PPR for top 5 low darks. Half PPR start 2 wide receivers, 1 flex, BTJ, Marvin Harrison Jr., Ibuka, Debo. Jesus, man. How do you choose between this? How do you choose between this half PPR? Okay. So, half PPR is probably going to be Breece. Might be Breece Hall and ETN. I think it's Breece Hall and ETN in half PPR. I think it is. It's definitely not Ibuka for me. Yeah, I think I'm going the running backs there. Oh, you need 2 wide receivers. 2 wide receivers and a flex. Okay, then I would go BTJ and I think I'd go BTJ and Marvin there. And then I would flex. Man, it's so hard between those two, ETN and Breece. I think I would flex Breece, but really, there's no wrong answer there. Top 5. I personally think I would be starting BTJ Marvin Harrison. I think they have the best touchdown. Debo's up there too, man. That's tough. Who are you? Who else do you have here in this league? But yeah, I think I would start BTJ Marvin Harrison and then Breece Hall here. In one league, I have Nico, BTJ, and Drake. Running backs are Swift, Henderson, K9. Okay, we talked about that. Yeah, Tyler. PPR, don't know who to start. AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Reek, DK, DJ Moore, Sampson. Start 2 wide receivers, 2 flexes. Yeah, it's really tough, right, Rocky? By the way, Alpha, I appreciate this super sticker here. Appreciate you a lot. Means a lot. AJ Brown and Marvin Harrison and DK Metcalf and probably so I would go AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison, DK Metcalf. If you want to play it safe, go DJ Moore. If you want some upside, go Tyreek. Sampson's for sure not starting over these guys. So AJ Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., DK Metcalf, and then You choose if you want to go for upside or play it safe. Safe, DJ Moore with upside. And then upside is a little bit more Tyreek there. Someone sent me a trade offer offering Derrick Henry and Devontae Adams for CMC and DK. That's going to count over CMC and Cup. Would you do this trade? I would want DK over Cup. Oh, you're trying to send away Cup. I would do this. I would want the CMC DK side pretty easily there. If it was CMC Cup, I would take the Henry Devontae Adams side. But if it's CMC and DK, I want that side pretty easily. Appreciate you, Alpha. Thoughts on Penix? It looked good, and he gave you rushing production. Like my only worry about him is his weapons staying healthy. If he has Mooney, Pitts, and Drake London out there, and he's going to run the ball like this, low end QB1 season coming in, I thought he looked good. I thought he really looked good. So pretty impressive, to be honest. I'm going to answer just a couple more questions here, guys, then I do need to take off. I need 2 wide receivers in a flex. We went over. Oh, no, we didn't do this one. Tyreek, McLaurin, DK, Hunter, Kupp, Jalen Warren. 2 wide receivers in a flex. I'm starting DK. I'm starting McLaurin. And then I think for upside, I'd go with Tyreek. I think I'm doing the first 3 there. Trone. Tet for his Samson straight up. I would take in redraft and in dynasty. I would take Tet there. Are you starting in Njoku and Fannin this week at Baltimore? I'm still starting in Njoku. Be a little bit wary on Harold Fannin. I think he's a good player. He still needs to play a little bit more in order to be consistent. So I'd still go Njoku. Njoku still played over 80% of the snaps there. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind starting Fannin either. Like if he was my best option. Offered Tyreek and Dak for Purdy, Ayuk, and Sutton. 5 flex and 1 quarterback with IDP. Offered Tyreek and Dak for Purdy, Ayuk, and Sutton. I mean, I would take the Dak side right now, not knowing anything about the Purdy injury there, Nick. We keep 4 players a year. My brothers are CD, Jamar. My other players are CD, Jamar, Gibbs, AJ Brown, Ted, ETN, Keenan Allen, Waddle, Mason. I would receive Tyreek Hill and Dak in this trade. Yeah, I would take Tyreek Hill and Dak, especially with the Purdy injury. We don't know when Ayuk's going to come back. So, yeah. Last one here. My team is Knicks, BTJ, Marvin Harrison Jr., Bijan, HN, and Buka. Jeez. I lost by 1 point. Should you be worried about Bo Nix? Nah, not too worried. Although there could be a little bit of sophomore slump there. But no, I'm not worrying yet about him. Give it a couple more weeks at least. So anyways, guys, I do have to take off. I appreciate you all. We'll probably be live again before the game tomorrow. So look out for that. Again, join the Discord if you want to know when we'll go live, and appreciate everyone showing out. And let's win week 2. Appreciate you guys. Catch you guys soon.